Good afternoon. In this video, we're going to go over this week's options watch list. Before I get into the watch list, if you're not in the room, you can find the link in the description of the video and in my bio section of social media accounts. Also, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. Now, this watch list is going to be very short because this is a big earnings week. We got all the big boys reporting this week: Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Meta, which is Facebook, Google, UPS, Shop. A lot of big big earnings this week, and it's going to definitely shape the market. So there's no point in even trying to do analyze any of these stocks because the earnings is just going to end up changing it. So what I'm thinking is that maybe we will have a an earnings run up because of a lot of the stocks that do well, like the internet stocks like Netflix, and I think that those kind of stocks like Facebook, Meta, Snap, and Twitter, they could end up doing good because they have online advertising and Google, so that's their main platform. So they may end up doing pretty well with that. So, but before I get into that, now looking at the economic calendar for the week, Monday we have flash services at 9:45. Consumer confidence at 10 on Tuesday. Let's see, we have some advanced GDP on Thursday morning. And Friday we have more core PCE price index. We have revised consumer sentiment. So a few things to look at on the economic calendar, but no Fed speakers this week. This is a blackout period for them because we have FOMC next week. So this week and next week is going to be crazy, I think, because earnings is going to definitely change the market. If the earnings is good, the market could end up raging. The market could end up going just because of earnings anticipation, which it used to do that all the time in the past. It would run on anticipation of good earnings, even if there was good or not. They would just run, and then the earnings would, if it's bad, it just dump or whatever. So, with that said, one of the things I'm looking at, look at VIX. VIX is staying right underneath this 32 trend line. I know it's closed above it, but it doesn't stay above it very long. Weekly, it looks like it's being bearish. We could end up seeing a drop. This would end up going with my thesis that I think the market's going to run this week. So we could see VIX dump down to the 23, even the 21-20 level this week, especially if earnings is good. If earnings is good, we could end up seeing some really crazy action. But a lot of the big players are not reporting until the end of the week. We got Apple, Amazon reporting on Thursday afternoon, Microsoft and Google's Tuesday afternoon, and Visa. So Tuesday, we got Facebook is on Wednesday. So yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Apple and Google will probably end up, if they beat, we'll probably end up getting a nice little pop on Wednesday. And I think Facebook will end up doing pretty good. Meta, I hate saying Meta. I don't know why, but anyways, plus the daily chart on the SPY is definitely looking pretty good. It's got a nice little inverted head and shoulders on the daily. You get the left, the head, and then the left, the head, and the right shoulder. It gets over this 375 area. We could end up seeing a strong move and for a push to 380. And if it gets over this 380, we got 380, 385, 390. We could see a push to 400. We could see some really ridiculous moves out of SPY this week if earnings is good. So definitely keep an eye on that on SPY for push to over 375 to 380, 385, 390, 395, 400. I don't imagine we'll get over 400, but who knows if we have some really blistering good earnings that we could end up seeing some really monster rally. But plus midterms is coming up. We'll have to see what happens with that. Also, another thing to point out that the FOMC is next week. Who knows what they'll raise it at? Maybe another 75 basis points. I would think at some point the Fed's going to start cooling down the rate hikes because we've just done so much, so many rate hikes over the last 6 months to a year that too much, too fast, that they're going to start cooling down. I would think they would end up dropping back some and give a little more time for things to actually pan out and work out, because inflation is not going to drop overnight. It's not going to drop in a couple months. It's going to take time, and they keep raising rates. They're going to end up crashing the market. But I think at some point in the next couple meetings, they're going to start cooling down and start being more patient. So, I mean, if inflation is not going down and they keep raising hikes, it's not working. I don't know what the Fed's going to do, but that's kind of premature at this point. But that's what I'm thinking. All eyes are on earnings this week and FOMC next week, and what happens after that. We'll just wait for that to happen. But the daily shaping up, the weekly shaping up. I mean, we could see a strong push out of SPY. Another thing I want to keep an eye on is I know Netflix had a big earnings beat, but we're getting close to that. We got 335 is a gap fill, right? Let me just expand this a little more to 9 months. I want to see the gap fill. Yeah, the gap fill is at 330. I'm assuming that, well, right now Netflix after hours is 231.40 as of after hours on Friday. The market has a strong run. I'm expecting Netflix to stall out at 300 because that's a huge psychological number. So I don't imagine it's going to go straight up to fill the gap. I would imagine it's going to stall at around 300 if it even gets there at all. I'm assuming it does get there. It would stall out a little bit, maybe consolidate for a few days before trying to fill the rest of the gap. So if you want to play, plus the RSI, you get a bearish divergence going on in the RSI. You got it's making higher highs and the RSI is making lower highs. So we're having a bearish divergence going on. But I mean, we've seen divergences going on for a long time, and it just does not really matter. We're seeing it right here for, this is a weekly, so this is months right here, 2 months at least. So we could diverge for a few days, a week even, before we end up seeing a dump on Netflix. But I'm thinking that we could push to 300, and that's where we're going to end up seeing a stall out. So on Netflix. Also Tesla. I know that Tesla just had earnings, and it wasn't really that good. But I mean, go back to the smaller time frame. There we go. The daily, I mean, you had that earnings drop, then it came back up. Had a nice little inside candle. It actually closed close to gap resistance. So the market's strong. We could definitely see a gap fill. So I'd watch it over 215 for a push to 220, 225. Possibly even 230. You get a gap fill up here at the 240. Tesla's got lots of gaps to fill. You got the 235, the 245, then you get this bigger one over above 260, right in the 260 area. So I'm not saying it's going to go straight to 260, but who knows? Definitely, if it can get over this 225 level on the daily, it definitely has got a chance to push to 240, 250, but we'll have to see with that. So that's going to do it for the watch list. I'm not going to really, try to guess what the market's going to do. I'm just going to play it day by day. Hopefully we won't have any massive gap ups, but like I said, I'm thinking we're going to get a rally this week in anticipation of good news on earnings. If Google and Microsoft end up having bad earnings, then we could end up seeing some more downside. I think that will dictate the market's direction Tuesday after hours into Wednesday. And Thursday will be Apple and Amazon, like I said, and that will dictate the rest of the week. So we'll have to see what they do and what happens. So that's why you need to be in the room. Hopefully we won't have any massive gap ups or gap downs. So that's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in the room.